What's up, Bulls Nation? It's the Bloody Horns podcast. I'm your host, Justin. Let's get into it. So the DeMar DeRozan era is officially over. They've sent him to the Sacramento Kings for Chris Duarte and 2 second-round picks. Who knows if those second-round picks are ever going to be anything, but let's break down Chris Duarte a little bit. What can we realistically expect from Chris Duarte? So, as a lot of you guys know, you probably saw it floating around social media yesterday. His first year in the league, his rookie year, he made all-rookie second team. He had a strong rookie year with the Indiana Pacers, 12 points a game, 37% from three. He looked like he was going to be a dude. His second year, he dropped off a little bit. He shot 31% from three. He was out of the rotation by the end of the year. The second half of the year wasn't in their rotation at all. Last offseason, he gets traded for nothing. He got traded for a second-round pick to the Sacramento Kings. That was a trade that I looked at, and I was like, man, the Chicago Bulls should be making those kind of moves. That trade and the Obi Toppin trade where the Pacers got Obi Toppin for like 2 second-round picks. I was mad the Bulls didn't make those kind of moves. A year later, though, I'm not a big fan of this Chris Duarte move. So last year with the Sacramento Kings, he couldn't crack the rotation. He shot 34% from three. The Kings, towards the end of the year, they were hurting in their backcourt. You know, Malik Monk was out. Kevin Huerter was out. They needed wings. They needed spacing. They needed shooting. He still couldn't crack that rotation for them. I don't think he's a good player. I just don't think, I don't think he's a good shooter. I think he's a shooter by reputation only. There's a lot of people who have been saying he's going to provide the shooting the Bulls have needed for a while. He hasn't shown that he's really a shooter. His rookie year, 37% from three. Second year, 31%. Last year, 34%. He hasn't been consistent from three at all. He doesn't really play defense. He's not a great athlete. He's a little bit older. He was 24 when he got drafted. He's going to be 27 by the time this season starts. So he is what he is as a player. We've seen his ceiling. His rookie year might have been his ceiling. We've seen that happen before with older guys who come into the league. They have a good rookie year. You think there's potential, but then you quickly realize that rookie year was just their ceiling. A guy who comes to mind for me with that is Landry Fields. His rookie year, he came in a little bit older, had a good rookie year with the Knicks. Then that was his ceiling. He was never anything close to that again. Chris Duarte might be that case here. So he's not a consistent shooter. He's not a great knockdown shooter. He's not a defender. He's not a great athlete. He doesn't really have size. He's about 6'4" to 6'5", 200 pounds. Where he's a guy, you're not going to play him at a 4. You're probably going to get exposed if you play him at the 3. So he's another guard in a guard-heavy team. I just don't like the fit. I much rather would have had Trey Lyles back in that trade. Yeah, he's a little bit more expensive, but he at least provides a little bit of size, a little bit more shooting, provides something the Chicago Bulls actually need. Where Chris Duarte, I don't really think he gets on the court that much for this Bulls team. So, like I said, last year for the Kings, he couldn't get on the court for them. He barely played for them. This Bulls team, they're guard heavy. Obviously we got Giddey, we got Kobe, we got Ayo, we still got Zach LaVine. Lonzo Ball is projected to make his comeback. I still hope that happens in a Chicago Bulls uniform. Javon Carter's still out there. Anuralp Batim is still out there. Dalen Terry's still out there. Like, we are heavy at the guard position. Duarte might be the worst out of all of those guys. So I'm not a fan of bringing him in. I know a lot of people were saying that, oh, well, he's an expiring contract. If he plays good, you can extend him. Maybe you can use him to match salaries for something. I just don't get it. Honestly, when I look at that trade, when I really analyze that trade, I'm like, why the hell did we get the Spurs involved? Why didn't we just take back Harrison Barnes, get the first-round pick swap, still get the 2 seconds? That would have been a much better pick or a much better trade. And I know it would have brought us closer to that tax line, but we still would have stayed out of the first and second apron. So, yeah, we would have had to convince them to pay taxes, but if you're going to be a smart ownership group, that's the type of move you got to make. Because I guarantee you guys that by the time trade deadline rolls around, the San Antonio Spurs will have moved Harrison Barnes for another pick. Maybe a second, maybe a first, maybe a pick swap, but I guarantee you they're going to move that dude for another pick. That's what smart franchises do. They take on veteran players like that they know they can flip down the line. We're not going to be able to flip Chris Duarte for shit down the line. The Spurs are 100% going to be able to flip Harrison Barnes for something down the line. So I'm not a fan of the move. I don't have high expectations for Chris Duarte. You guys can tell me I'm being a hater. Maybe I'm wrong. You guys let me know in the comments what you think about the Chris Duarte move. Do you think he's actually going to crack the rotation this year?